Wow.
Yes, because why not?
Yeah.
Wait until I was delivering my cow and matumbo decides. The cow decides to
kutoa matumbo yo.
Iliamua kujichinja yenyewe.
Oh God.
Nakwambia, the cow story should talk to every baker, and I really tell bakers, especially the upcoming bakers, usiogope whatever design that is. Say, usiseme ni ya Sharon, usiseme ni ya Sarah. Sema it is mine because the customer has talked to you. Take the order, then work with other bakers, and that's how networking comes in. For me, I didn't have the opportunity of working with other bakers. I was working with my team. With my team. My team today are the notables in the industry. The ones we did the cow. They know themselves.
Tunawajua. Usiinue mkono hivi.
Yes. And I'm glad and I'm so humbled by the fact that the bakers we have trained, or wale walipitia mkono yangu today, they are who is who in the industry today. Yes, and I love it. God, I thank you for that. So this cow, now I go to deliver it with one of my staff members. Remember, it got at the back of the car. We had a van that time. So one guy is sitting at the back with the because the structure we had done, the legs are almost giving way. As if we knew we needed to do a food, so we had made it ourselves. Yes. So, oh God. When I think about it today,
you're like, what is that? What was that?
What were we thinking? Yes, and so we made, and you see, most of the stuff, the cake was at the stomach area and the head. And the head.
Oh yeah, actually.
Sindio. So you can imagine the mess happened. But that did not kill me. Of course, you know the feeling you feel when maybe a cake, something like that happens. Sometimes you feel like you want to die.
For only a minute. And you're like,
you wake up and you have to that it was a dream, but it becomes a real. It was a reality. I'm taking the cow to Sagana. The car road we are going to pass is from the off-road. When we exit the main road, it's bumpy. So the danger even happened, even the more. And so we get in the hotel. It's a hotel. And the cake is for a CEO. And I'm looking at the cake, my cow, and I'm looking and wondering, oh God, what do I do?
So the legs are still intact?
Yeah?
The legs?
The legs are intact.
So it's the belly.
Matumbo, part of the matumbo, I think. Matumbo zimetoka nje, they have left the meat. And so I learned from that time the importance of carrying a toolbox. Yes, because that's where my toolbox started. I had ribbons, I had floral tapes, I had some flowers. Though the cow was not going to have flowers, but it ended up having flowers. Wow. Because what happened, I had to put everything together, put foil, extra fondant, we cover.
Then it looks like a garden.
Then we start painting the madoado of the cow. It was a fresh one. Do you know the cow stood again? And because I'm working in a hotel, even the cake person there became a student that time. Anataka hata kuona.
I'm really curious. So you took the foil, then ukairudisha.
Nikafunga.
Remember
part of one side of the matumbo haijatokana. So ishikirie hii pande. Alafu I put fondant again on top. Yes.
Because you cannot restructure the cake.
You couldn't see the mess when the cow was standing again. And I'm sitting there with my husband because he was the driver and wondering what just hit us. And we are all sweaty and wondering, but we are happy at the same time. This happens, bakers, all the time. If it happens to you, usishtuke. Breathe in and jump onto the plan B. Why networking is the best thing. Because that time, there was no one I could call other than the person I was with. And we repaired and it was nice.
Yeah.
And I also learned one thing. It builds stamina for the next project.
Yes.
Usiogope, because the next one will be like an aircraft.
Yeah.
Utaogopa.
True.
Yeah,
Did you
tell
see
you
the
to-
video of the
Yes, of the
Nigerian
Nigerian baker.
who made an aircraft, like a full aircraft,
Yes.
almost this table,
Yes.
akaiacha kwa gari na ilikuwa ganache.
Yes.
Ikamelt fondant.
Yote. All the fondant.
And she was supposed to deliver in the evening. She just called back
the
her staff
team.
back to the bakery
Yes.
and covered.
That is what happens. That is
You will only be shocked for like 30 minutes. You're like,
Yes.
guy, what do I do? I called Sarah, nina complain, nawambia, oh, this has happened. And immediately, even sometimes I'm here in the bakery and then the cake has an issue. And then my assistant anaangalia anasema, we, nilikuwa mimi ningelia nimeenda nimelala. And I'm like, I leave the cake first.
Get a
You
break. Take a sip of
re-energize
water.
yourself, sit down,
Yes.
rethink, and then now start on the cake when you're a bit relaxed, not with that pressure.
Yes,
and
but
that's what I always tell my students. I tell my assistant if we have an issue, unaangalia hivi keki, unamwambia plan B. Let's go.
Yes.
You
Actually,
can never cry for
That is
plan
the
A.
way to go. Plan B.
Plan
What
B.
is
Or
plan
a
B?
baker always have
And you
plan
always
B.
have to think fast, especially when it comes to, like, say, a wedding.
Yes.
Now, because I do whipping cream cake, I can't remove the cakes. As already nimeshazieka, nimeweka the skewers, I cannot remove them. So I have to think.
Yeah.
Yes.
This cake is bending. So what am I supposed to do? Then, you stand utalemolisha
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are so many things that I find that also the bakers need to know, that there's a lesson with every cake setup.
cake,
yeah.
There's a lesson to learn.
True.
Go for the lessons.
Don't wallow in
Get
there.
yourself away from the mess. The mess has already happened. Try to make the mess and get the lesson. The lesson is the one that will take you to the next cake project that you're doing. And imagine it will be better
Yes,
than the last
absolutely.
experience.
You might
every
even
time.
think you have messed up.
Yes.
Like there's a cake was almost leaving the table. It also like when the wedding was ending, it was also ending.
Oh no.
And it was whipping cream cake. And let me tell you, I was devastated, really devastated. And I thought to myself, I'm a failure. How
Yes.
this thing, hata sijui. Let me tell you, I got a client from that wedding
What-
Yes.
that was leaving the table. And
Yes.
I was even, when she came for the consultation, I was like, you didn't see the cake? No, it was very beautiful. It was very nice. And I was like, what?
Maybe she thought that was also
The design.
No,
The
it's also
design.
the design.
Yeah, sometimes anaweza kuwa gravity defying.
That could also be a design.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these things, what I've learned over the years is that every cake project that you're doing today will be history tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it will have taken the lessons you'll have learned as you deliver this cake, wherever, maybe out of location to the next location. There will be lessons to learn, and then you'll incorporate them in the next cake project.
Absolutely.
And usiogope that to make a mess. You know, this is one thing I really talk to students about. Imagine, celebrate your mistakes, because if you don't celebrate a mistake, how will you even correct it? If you're just Mr. Right, Miss Right all the time, how will you correct your mistakes? So allow yourself to make mistakes, and then
Take them as a learning curve.
make the next cake project even look better.
Yeah.
Because that I have identified that as a number one failure for many bakers.
And you see,
They want to be JoyBells tomorrow.
Yeah.
You have started
You have to
today
have a
and you want.
process.
I wish you know. Hata mimi sijafika. I am
Exactly.
still looking for that
Yeah.
perfection. Every time I look for perfection.
Yeah.
Yes.
It reminds me when I did my first wedding, I think a few months into baking, and baka wa leo, I always say I did that cake for free. They paid me 16,000. Niliingia kwa niliwalipia vitu. And when I got my second wedding cake order, I knew immediately your deposit inaenda kwa class, because I also want to take it as an opportunity. I learned from my first wedding cake. The second one, I'm not going to mess. And again, I want it to also be a platform where I'm going to showcase my art.
Yes.
I went to JoyBells in May. The wedding was in July.
Yeah.
And 2023, 2023 when I was making my manifestation, I said I want 5 wedding cakes. Sasa January nakaa hivi nasema hata natoa wapi hawa 5 brides, you know. I paid for my wedding class, master class. I went for my master class, which was amazing. I did my wedding cake, and then immediately after I got an order, wedding cake. November I had 3 wedding cakes.
Imagine.
And then December 1, and then including
January,
and you see, and I knew if I want to perform and bring in more clients, I also have to invest in my craft.
Yes.
I took that incidence of the wedding cake yenye nilifanya na 16,000 ya fondant, no lessons, no nothing. It was actually good, not really bad, but I took it as a learning curve, and I knew if I want to, I know I can do a wedding cake, but it won't be as good as I get lessons and nuggets and so take every chance, every failure, every mistake as a learning curve, and
yes, again, learn to work with people, build a team. If you're, because you can't do cake work alone. I don't think anybody can. I see bakers fearing even to pay someone to assist. And that is a wrong thing, because especially women, let me talk about women. We have so many other chores that we have to do at home. Maybe you're a mother, you are also baking at the same time. And funny enough, especially bakers who bake at home, our customers remember to order these cakes in the evening when you're feeding your family, when you're doing homework. Kwanza today with CBC, I don't even know what is happening.
Wacha tu umekimbia kwa cyber kuprint.
Mimi naona kama shule pia ni mzazi anasoma, but unakaa hapo, you are still baking. Kuna keki ziko kwa oven, you have a early morning delivery, you have to bake this cake, and so you'll maybe be sleeping at 2 in the night, again wake up to prepare your children. Get an assistant.
And I feel you're very vocal about kubake. Si lazima ukwe na mashida za, yani I feel like bakers pride themselves in nimekuwa job the whole day, nimekuja nikabake the whole night, nikadeliver cake, nikaenda job.
Usiku sako should be banned. You should not.
It is not an achievement to overwork yourself. It is not.
You should have a limit, because
even as an 8 to 5, you should. I believe planning.
You can get a burnout. You can get a burnout. Actually, I got a burnout myself. But it's because I was working. I had a day job. I'm coming to bake at in the evening. I had
still
children.
A mom.
I'm still a wife. You still an employer because you have a house girl. And you can pia iko na ma challenges zake. So at the end of the day, we forget that you want to bake maybe in the next how long? You're projecting to make for how long? To bake for how long? So if you decide to be doing all these things, you're going to suffer burnout. Nobody can be able to do that. And again, which business has ever succeeded ukiwa peke yako? Because we earlier said in this interview that even the watchman who sits at the gate is a vital tool for your business. There's something that person can tell you that hakuna mtu mwingine anaweza kukwambia to build your business. So get an assistant. Usiogope. Start even with the house girl that you have. That's how I did. Teach them how to bake. You call them. When I was doing my day job, I used to call my house girl, my house help, and I'm telling her, bake for me this, chukua ile mkebe inakaa hivi, fanya hivi na hivi na hivi, unakumbuka ile keki tu. And I used to write my recipes. So she's able to follow. I used to pin them kwa fridge. So
unamwambia tengeneza
anatengeneza. So you are able to do only that which requires your person to do. So my work was now to come and maybe just decorate the cake, because she had even learned how to do fondant.
Oh, really?
I told them even to do.
Does she still work like?
By the way, she became a baker by herself for some time until she stopped. So she teach them, usiogope vile bakers huwa anasema ati nikifundisha
alafu anaenda
ilikuwa yako
sawa.
By the way, bakers niambie mnatoanga hizi recipes wapi? Ni yako.
By the way, si yako. Ni shimo tu iko pale.
Ndio. Ni sawa. Acha akienda na recipe yako, hajaenda na clients wako.
Do you know, it's like a candle. Please light someone's candle. Yours will never. Otherwise, where would JoyBells be today? Because I have taught millions.
Yes.
I'm really even curious, like even when you're employing people, because I think in that phase, with Sharon, we keep on telling each other, hey, delegating, even in my house, like they tell me, well, I just say decorate before you. You keep giving me those eyes. And I feel like it's reached that time where now we are acknowledging
that it's
but then there are things I would really want to know, like when you get into employing now someone, when you're bringing in someone, what have you learned so far so good? I'm so sure you have employed, you have fired, you have fired and hired people. Now what have you learned in that whole process of hiring and firing in, like, as a baker?
Maybe I can speak about how I started hiring.
Yes.
Because from the time I realized now I have too much other than my house help, I started by, remember I had friends, young people who loved to hang around me for the same reason that they hang around you, the off-cuts. Yeah, so those were my first, I identified a girl who had all the time kept coming, and I told her, can I now start paying you to do this? And then, and make sure that you have a contract with that person from the very onset. Usifanye kienyeji. Hata kama it's not written, agree on something, but get a book where you note what you're doing. And maybe she can also sign, especially initially it used to be a book, a payroll, where she's signing our wages. And so that was my first employee. And on and on, we stayed with her for quite some time. And then the business asked. Our businesses talk.
They always
speak. They know when they need another person. Because the two hands were not enough. So we got another one. We are training. So me, I'm used to training on the job because maybe hata ukija you know how to bake, unajua kubake na kudecorate zao. You don't know zangu. You don't know my style. So we have to teach my style. That's what I do. I make sure I teach you our style. You come in with your style. Of course, I'll do interviews today. I see what you can do. But you realize very fast that this person is not doing your style. Because there's a style you want to keep as a cake house. And that's how we keep doing it up to today. Don't worry about this thing bakers say they will go with my recipes, they will do what? They will go with that one recipe, you'll get 10.
Yes, true.
You'll go with, some of them will even walk out with your customers. And that's another thing that we need to talk about, that when you are growing, also have somebody who is doing admin work
separate from
baking. So that the person dealing with your customers is also solely dealing with customers. The person now decorating cakes is getting cue from the person who took the order.
They're now working as a team.
Then you build a team that way. By and by you'll see today me wagaria na shindwa, how did I get here? It is God. And again, also keep equipping yourself. Like I've done many admin courses within the time. Those are the things that I've done. Management, I've done a course. There's one that was being run by Strathmore that is very good. I think they still have it. And it helps you even build your business.
I think the one that Jane did, and I think
I think I've seen a few business people going to Strasbourg.
Yeah, they have one
a short course, right?
Yes, it's a short course, and it is very good because it is impactful. It is something that deals with you at your level.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Really
That
nice.
is
So
nice.
you don't have. It's not a must. You keep on going for classes for baking.
No.
You also have. I think that is where we were discussing earlier, like entrepreneurship and baking. So like how you marry those two to make your business equal something.
You see, about the baking classes, you can decide at the level you are, because we are all gifted differently. Like for me, I'm a creative through and through, and I think it runs from my family line. So like my son is a pencil artist.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he can draw portraits and that, and it's a gift. You see, like me, I need to look at something to be able to create it. Maybe for you, you need my help to instruct you how it is done. It is very important you understand yourself.
True.
If you understand yourself, decide. Like the first cake I ever did, a kiondo. Okay.
Sorry. It's okay.
You know, I originated the kiondo class, the kiondo cake in Kenya. I was the
You
very
got an
first,
award for
and
it.
I got an award.
Wow.
You know what had happened? I had gone for fellowship somewhere. Well, an old lady in our church was sick, and so we went to see her. Where I was sitting, there was a kakiondo, an old one hanging on the wall. And my mind obviously diverts.
Meeting imeisha, umesahau.
That's me. That's my mind. I started diverting, and I was looking at the strands of the kiondo, and I was picturing it in my mind. And do you know, I was working with Almasi, let me mention that time. I went back to the bakery and I told him we are making a kiondo. And we
Hata yeye
did this
alishtuka.
kiondo. And you know, I told him this is how we are going to do, and I had to think because I had never seen somebody do it. And that's how I had this Carib rolling pin, the one now everybody calls kiondo. It was I gave it that name because I remember one of the suppliers, a top supplier, asking Beatrice, hii tutaiita aje? Because everybody is
I know
going
it's
to
like
buy
a set.
it for the kiondo. So we had that one, and when we rolled it, it could give us those lines.
The lines,
And we started, and that kiondo won an award. But that's how the kiondo started. About the sides, the rope, it's just I brought my kiondo, and I'm practically using. That's what I do.
You're looking at it and
The real thing. I always look at the real things and then create it into cake, and that's how we did the kiondo. Today, when I see those bad kiondos, people don't know how to tie the knot. I feel so bad. And sometimes I train it for free. I have trained it for free online, so that I see a good kiondo. Mimi nachukianga mtu anarusha tu kakamba
akadeka knot.
Because imagine, just go get your kiondo, weka hapo, weka keki yako, you will do it. But because sometimes we imagine that unless I am taught, I can't.
Funny thing, I never went for a kiondo class. I just watched. There's a video on Almasi on YouTube. I just watched it and I did the kiondo.
I learned kiondo when I was doing my master class. During our breaks, you could just go and ask the
whatever is being done.
Where can I help? She tells you, are you seeing what I'm doing? Yes, do it. And you help.
So it is something very easy, but sometimes tunajiwekeanga vikwazo, like it is for them. Don't complicate. Cake making is a very easy thing. Let it flow from the inside of you.
And one of the important things you said, you know yourself. She said she's a creative. There are people who don't like, personally, I don't like doing a bath. Anga sijui what. Kiondo I will do. But like these things that he bring at, I want a bath, I want sijui what. To be honest, I'll just tell you, no, I will not. Because I know that is not something I
you can. I feel like I know you, you can, but you don't like
I don't like the whole
pressure.
process. I just don't like it. Even a kiondo I can. yes, I do make it, but I feel like this process. But you see, again, if I do something else, like you see the way I do like whipping cream wedding cakes, me, I'm just sailing through.
Yeah.
And then there's someone who anapewa whipping cream wedding anasema hata yezi simama.
I love something that is challenging.
Me too. I think I'm also
what I love. I like working with what is like now. I'm looking at that flask and I'm thinking of it
in cake.
Yeah, that's how my mind thinks.
Reminds me, like there's a friend of mine. Her son gives me his birthday cake orders specifically. I don't know if you saw. I made a Kenyan map cake. That was for his birthday. I made another one that has an octopus.
Yes,
I made a football pitch. Now he wants a leopard.
Yes.
A real leopard.
Yes. Yes.
And I said, yeah, we will do it.
Yes.
That kid challenges me. He's never asked for a normal cake, a round cake.
That's nice.
So because it's about getting to know yourself,
challenging
do
yourself.
a SWOT analysis on yourself.
Yes.
Study your weaknesses,
your style,
strength, and then work with that. See what is open for you. What opportunities do you have around you? Like for me, when I was starting to bake, and this is something I didn't mention, bakers were not willing to teach one another that time. The bakers who were notables that time, and that's how I got cheated by one of the bakers when I asked her, how come your cake is shining? You know, shimmer dust surely and luster dust, and she cheated me like a baby. And I remember the first cake festival.
I feel bad.
Yeah, I feel bad because
yeah.
he's actually not baking. I don't think that lady bakes anymore.
I wish you wouldn't have even answered.
I looked at that, you know, the way I did at home that day. Nilienda tu, I'm trying to fold my fondant and trying to rub it on the table to see whether it shines. I would put kibo on it.
So she told you to shine. What are you supposed to use?
It is just the way they work with their fondant.
Ndio iko na glitters.
Yes, and somebody is not wanting to tell you.
Glitters. Hata atamaliza
and you are creative. So si utaenda ujaribu to do all these things.
And
now
if you
hata kibo in the morning when I wake up, my cake imenikasirikia tu. So I used to cry. By the way.
But I don't know if you are a baker and you have never cried. Me, I've cried several times.
Yes. So
I don't know.
That is the day I told God, aki siku ile Mungu utaniambia. I remember there was no internet that time. So much you could not. There was no Google for us to know. It was hard, but I kept on. I really wanted. This lady was displaying her cake somewhere in town, and I would go there. There's a big kiosk, and jioni nikitoka job naenda naangalia. Sometimes I would hit my head on the screen because I want to see what the flower. Kwanza the roses, they used to mesmerize me. I used to pray to God, one day if you will allow me to make a rose. And do you know how I learned? I used to pick roses, real roses, and come and dissect it. Yes. My first cutter was Manila paper. I cut the petal and I'm tracing the actual petal. And that is what I would do until...
If you've seen JoyBells roses.
I've seen. But
flowers
generally. Flowers are very beautiful.
Generally,
that's how I was able to get it, because imetoka from a point of pain. And it's when I told God, the day I will discover, no other baker will suffer the way I suffered, because I needed to learn and people are not willing to teach.
And thank you for being very intentional with how you teach.
She's one of the people who are very...
When we went for classes, she was there. Apart from time ya dust, I think sugar, she's in her office. After that, she comes and checks on everyone, even the flowers. She was very involved. And I remember there's a time when I had just opened here and I was advertising for classes. There's a lady who called me and she ranted for 30 minutes and she hung up and she's never called. And she was just telling me, how much do you charge for classes? I paid for classes from Kisumu. I'm in Kisumu. I came to Nairobi for classes. Tumefika that morning. Kutoka Kisumu nimeenda directly to class. Nikifika kwa class, wanaulizwa wako students wangapi, wako 6. Mayai inahitajika ngapi per student? 4 times 6. Akatuma pesa. Waende wanunue. Hakuna like she really said, she was really complaining that she paid that amount of money and she left that place with nothing to show. And I felt very bad because as the person who's providing those classes, how does it feel for you to have 6 students who are paying that amount of money, lakini mayai unanunua exact, hata si about mayai, but exactly. I feel like be intentional with sharing information. It always comes back.
It's not a must to teach. If you don't want to teach, if you don't have a calling, leave it.
Yeah.
But if you have a calling and you're taking somebody's money,
you have put it very well about teaching. It's a calling.
Yes.
If you feel that you're not called to teach, please don't.
Yes.
The other thing, and this is a mess that bakers are doing today, you attend one class, maybe you even attended a beginner class, and then the next day you're teaching.
True.
Yeah? Have you seen that happen?
Yes.
True.
Yes.
And then you're teaching yourself raw.
Yes.
Yeah? And then what are you churning out there? So please, let uive kwanza vizuri ndio uweze kugive.
Ufunza mtu. Na plus even you as a baker, I feel like you need to research.
Yes.
Call people and tell them, I've seen you went for a class. How was it? Would you go for that class again? Did you think it was worth your money? So that you will get to go to the right classes. Because I mean, there are so many classes being advertised out here, and you wouldn't know until you go to the class. Sasa imagine umelipa pesa mingi, you go to the class, it's pure disappointment. I feel like you talk to like the fellow bakers who you've seen gone to
I see students who come again to this class, to my class, and they are complaining about this and that from other classes. And I'm just like, I feel like if you did a little bit of research, ungejua
you will have
where
gone
to.
Yes.
And also for me, I usually say that I went to a very good class. I emulate the structure, the professionalism of that class. So I know the standard. So it's either you go higher, hakuna pali utaenda chini. So even
you better go higher because me, I've even called people or written inbox. I don't know you. I've just seen your cake. And many bakers can testify. If I have ever inboxed you, please, unisamehe tu. I just had to feel, I don't know, and I'm not the one who is gifted in this, but I feel like I needed to tell you something. I know I have talked to bakers. Please, can I help you? And I've talked to them.
Even inbox.
It means you are good. Because I always call people who I see their cakes ziko na castle somewhere, and I feel there's something I can offer.
Can help.
Imagine I do this knowing also, and especially your generation. So ananipigia dio. You know the way sometimes.
Someone actually probably in their group.
But I feel like it's a good thing if I can correct you somewhere and make you move to the next level. I feel I'm indebted to do that.
Me, JoyBells calls me, I'm just like,
yes, I've done that.
Thank you for. I'm always I'm also that type of person. I'm very open.
Please, whenever you go out there, also be open books. Tell people, don't hide information.
I feel like for people like
you're not hiding
Mimi, you are in this class. You're baking the cakes. The same way I'm baking orders for my clients. The same recipe you use. The same recipe.
Exactly that. Because some people will give you recipes and they don't work.
There's a student who came for master class, advanced, and she didn't manage to do a fondant cake. She had a big fondant cake order, so she came with her cakes to decorate here. Unakata hivi keki ndani ni ugali. I actually just told her.
And that's something else we need to talk about. There are bakers who will tell you, I know how to bake. I want you to teach me how to decorate.
Yes.
What are you going to do? You're going to teach them how to decorate.
But
and these are the people who will also go and spoil your name because keki yao itakuwa baya. And because they were seen in
JoyBells,
and they won't say, they will keep mum that mimi
nilienda
keki yangu baya. Please mseme ukweli. God anawaona.
It's important.
Yeah.
Hata mimi when
Grow
students
your business
say,
into-
I know how to bake. I remember my student who's done so many wedding cakes.
Yes.
She's called Naropil. She's done
Yeah.
a lot of wedding cakes. She came
Yes.
for masterclass, I think in beginner class in May. June she came for wedding masterclass. December amefanya almost 6-7 weddings from Narok. And I remember when she sent me her cake, she's like, I know how to bake. I just told her, yeah, but let's start from beginner. Let's start from scratch.
Juu kuna keki haziwezi kuwa structure pia.
Lakini unajua kuna mwingine anataka tu baking and decorating kwa sababu anaona your deco is nice. So
anasahau inaanzia ndani
na kuitishanga kuja na keki zake. So tutatengeneza even maybe from dummy plus your cake and then I will talk about it in my when I'm posting. I'll talk about it. She came with her cake. At least you go saying because me I know our cakes. It's we initially from Kitambo, me I don't like very sugary cakes. And I had to develop our recipes in a way that
you reduce on the sugar.
You reduce on the sugar and it's a cake you can eat and eat and eat and eat. Na utaboeka. That's why people have my offcuts.
Lazaro.
You are going to
I remember.
So like I think
and the band.
We can now start asking questions.
Okay.
I just feel like so tell us like what was this like ile keki yenye it took JoyBells to now the like sasa people knew who is JoyBells, that cake that was famous.
Speaking about that, by the way, JoyBells made my son's first birthday cake.
Umezuka kwa bakers wengi wewe.
Nani
wewe?
JoyBells made my cake. Like I sat when I went for my classes, it was a full circle. I was like, when I ordered that cake in my life, if you told me I'd be a baker, ningekuangalia even kushangae. Mimi nafaa kuwa sahi kwa lofa na wig. Unaniambia nakuwa baker aje? How?
About cake. The first challenge I got from a bride who I had never seen. She was introduced to me by another bride. Like normally it happens, but this bride knew what she wanted. She wanted a homestead, and that's how I started doing the traditional wedding cakes. She wanted a homestead. She needed to see a pot cooking on stone and all that. I had never ever seen a cake like that.
Yes.
According to, because you remember, I have already told you we were not networking. There was no social media where bakers would share for information.
Come as busy, you see people. Show me ideas of sujui housewarming.
Mercy, I know you are listening. Mercy became also one of my students later. And that family, I made for them their wedding cakes. One after the other, I started making for cousins. I started making for who? From that one wedding cake.
Okay.
So I did the homestead. Today, sometimes I look at those photos and laugh.
We will insert. We will insert here.
We will insert.
Because I went looking for and that's why I don't like plastic flowers. Munisamehe tu. Me, I love to make my sugar flowers. Sipendi because they remind me some foolish things I did. But we were happy. They were happy. Very happy. And I actually not so long ago, we were in a barrio somewhere and I found a mzee who was representing Mercy's father that day. And he still remembers that cake. Many years, like over 30 years ago. He still remembers that cake.
So, over 30 years ago,
you can imagine from when? My firstborn is how old? My firstborn is about 34. 35.
36.
Yes. And you see, I was baking.
So you have been baking for say 30
over. Because remember,
over
36 years.
Yes. Wow. A big part of that in the house.
I have experienced them now. When I was my master class there, you were making a cake that Ruto was going to eat. You remember? Let me tell you, the work that goes into those structured cakes.
Yeah.
The men uko na maprotractor.
Yes.
Na zile ruler za triangle.
I see those things quadruples. Aki, they bring even electricians.
Hey.
They bring things
Talking about
Let me tell you.
lady, that drip was
Yeah.
my inspiration.
I even wanted to ask you who is your mentor.
Yeah.
That one.
Then we're in the
just
same one.
mentioned.
Let's
Yes.
Hi.
one.
Musalime.
Yeah.
Dripples mentor.
Ajue
Aki.
We
Because
just-
you know,
one day
I
she will
even
be on
tagged
this
her
stage.
on one of the cakes last year. I tagged her because she the way that lady does her cakes and the
You-
passion. You know,
Yes.
you know, there is a baker will do a cake and you don't see the.
Yes.
You know, cake is life.
Yeah.
Like the cake we took to Eldoret, we are taking another one this Saturday, this Friday. Cake nasikianga nika inatoka
Kwa roho.
kwa roho. The
That is what we were talking
Yeah.
about, saying cake is about emotion,
Yes.
care, love.
I always say in my words that cakes speak. You even step. You remember the stepping out?
Yeah.
You step out.
Yes.
Step back and look at the cake.
When you step out, the cake speaks. It asks for the next thing.
And it's
you
very
do
true.
that.
My PA can tell you I always do that.
Yes.
That's right.
She always I always move back and I
Yes.
look and I tell her
So that
move
you
back
learn
and
from that.
spin your cake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but it has been lovely. It has been lovely hearing your story and everything. But there's just one question that I want to ask. I don't know when you are having your children if you are really deep into baking.
Yeah, you see, I was still baking, only that now I have to stop
For the
some
period,
time.
yeah.
There's, I will speak about the day I was getting, not my last born, I think it's Joy. I got this order from a friend of my auntie. It is this style ya nikulete unga na mayai, and so she had done that. And so time came, the baby has to come, and I went to give birth. I have left everything at home, and I come back, they come, I'm instructing, sitting down with my baby.
Joy. Hey,
Joy wants it.
Yes.
That is Joy. Actually, I've just remembered that's how Joy started. Joy started working with me that very
yeah.
Yeah.
because we did the cake when with the two ladies.
that is
Every
so
day they would come to
beautiful.
my house. They are the ones mixing and I'm instructing.
Yeah.
But unakumbuka kuna ile tu ni lazima utaweka hizo maua. And I'm making my flowers sitting down.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like you having children, how did it affect like your job? Even say like your last born.
But you're at home at
Remember,
that
I'm
time.
also having a day job.
Hey, my lord.
Yes.
My lord.
That's the gift of women.
Women,
Yeah.
so you can
The
multitask.
strength of women.
Okay.
We can do so much. I was having a day job, I'm getting babies, I'm baking, I am carrying cakes to the office to sell.
In connection to that,
People in the office, people used to take tea with my cakes. Wow. Yes.
wow. In connection to women being superhuman
Yeah.
beings.
Yeah.
I go back to, we didn't discuss enough about prioritizing rest. In your opinion, how do you prioritize rest? What is the importance of
And why
prioritizing
did you
rest?
what
What triggered you to speak about it intentionally and genuinely?
Yes.
That as a baker you need rest.
It is something that happened to me. I didn't know that I was overworking myself. Like many bakers don't know they are overworking themselves, because that time I am baking and there's so many orders. I don't have enough staff members that time. It is that time when I was just starting my business. I had like just a few assistants, and then I'm also doing something in church. I had a responsibility
Wow.
in the church group. The woman I call it Woman's Guild, not women.
Oh, woman.
Woman's Guild.
Okay.
And I'm very particular to bakers who write
Women
that
guild.
when they get a Woman's Guild cake, they write Women's Guild. It is not Women's Guild, especially if you're dealing with the PCA. It is Woman's Guild. So I was in the Woman's Guild that time, and so I'm busy in church. It's a job. It's like a full-time job that time. And I have the shop at JoyBells. I'm a mother, and I have all these other responsibilities. So one day we were working, and I was doing catering. I didn't mention that. I was also doing catering.
Really?
Yes, for offices, corporate caterings. So I'm serving food somewhere. I'm coming to finish wedding cakes. I have to rush home to be a mother. I'm in church. And one day I felt suddenly very tired. I was sitting somewhere on a bench, and I told my guys, please nipateni chini. It's in the night. That time I was still working with Almasi and another girl called Rachel. So Rachel escorts me, and I didn't reach the car. I just dropped.
Fatigue.
And by within like 20 minutes, I was in ICU.
My gosh.
Yes. That is the day I discovered JoyBells does not have to run just because of me.
Yes.
And I decided, no, there's something I need to do. I first of all got somebody who identified to be a core signatory of JoyBells account, one of my staff members, and I stopped now dealing with I learned how to delegate, and I delegate and remove myself. What happens with customers? Our industry is very funny. The customers want you,
because you are the one who's putting yourself out there as much.
So you'll see some customers even pulling off because umelinga siku hizi hata kazi ulipeana.
Do you know there's
if
a
you
client
start
who told
training, customers now start telling you unapeana keki zao kwa students.
Exactly.
Sindio? So it's kind of the ball game that you need to do there. Ni uone what is more important. Is it your health or the business? Both are important, but your health is more. So of course some customers will pull out because they will not understand. But I wish they don't, because I kept asking them, when you go to the bank and you need a loan, do you talk to the owners? Do we even know who owns the banks?
No.
But we still get loans, don't we?
Yeah, because if it's your business, the person who's baking that cake is baking to my standards, not their standards. It is my standard.
And you are not very far, only that you are behind the curtain somewhere. You're looking at that cake. Like these days, I bake cakes on WhatsApp. I can be able to see what is happening at the bakery, correct here, correct there. And it's like, it's still me. But you see, customers who understand. So when I was sick that time, I dropped my phone. In fact, it's when I gave that number to JoyBells. Dedicated the number that used to be Beatrice Muteru. And I got another line because that's on doctor's advice. And so JoyBells still, people would answer the phone, but not me.
Not you.
And somehow some customers walipotea, but I'm happy they all started coming back after some time.
And even you get
talk to them.
Kuna time alienda akaenda kabisa, but other people will still come.
It's very important to.
So rest is very very important. Decide also weka business yako opening and closing hours. And
even at home,
social media. Customers please, wacheni kutupigia simu saide tunapatia watu wetu ugali na sukuma jioni. It's true. See, our children also need to eat. Please. And they need that mother.
Yes. Also, to add on that, if you're a home baker, you need to plan. You can always plan around your home so that people will avoid late nights. I know people say, at late night is when I have the kitchen to myself, but it's also good the time you wake up, start working at that time.
Yes.
So that you strictly have a rule that by 9 p.m. I'm in bed. Because even if you have a very busy day, if you have your 9 hours of sleep, your body is able to re-energize itself. But don't thrive in no sleep. Ile siku your body will break, because you also need your business. You need your business, you need your brand to grow, because sasa, yes, you want your brand, because all of us want to grow, our businesses to grow. To what extent if you do not want to?
Now, also, even when you die, your business, what watakula keki bado, whether you are there or not, people will
like, I would want my business, JoyBells, to outgrow me.
Yes.
And go
even when you are not there.
And it runs. Today, like now we are sitting here. JoyBells is
continuing.
There are orders happening. So equip your people in a way that they can be able to work
to your
when
standards.
you're not there.
Hey, true. The knowledge, the wisdom we've got from this.
Now we would still continue for another 2-3 hours if we are late.
Yes, but she's really amazing. And we really thank God for such a gem in the industry who's ready and willing to speak and impact the young generation or the young people who are just starting to bake. And we are so happy that you accepted our invite. We are grateful. May God expand your territory. And that ule mwenye unataka kusema wewe ni mentored ripples, siku utaenda kumwona tuambie.
Lakini tutaenda. Tutaenda. Tupange trip.
Yeah, we can.
She does, by the way, bakery. She does
bakery tour. Ama pia alafu tukimaliza akuje hapa.
Atakuja hapa one day.
Why not?
Yes.
Why not?
Plan. Yes. So
also bakers should know there's something I really like telling. Na hii please wachani niseme initoke. If you forget everything I have said, please imagine in Kenya we have the bakers.
Yes.
In Kenya we have very gifted cake creatives in Kenya. Sometimes let us use our own. Honestly, sometimes I feel okay, we bring them in, but ukiona what they are teaching is not even, sometimes it's not even fit for our market, because every environment has its own market and its needs. Our needs are not the other countries' needs. Our needs are unique to us. Why don't we make our own and use, because the bakers in Kenya seriously are serious creatives. Doing extraordinary things. Use them. Use them. Whenever they advertise for classes, imagine go. Because I usually see sometimes we advertise for class and then another outside somebody advertises for class and bakers rush.
Alafu unapata the ingredients of the things they use are different from the Kenyan market.
Hata unashanga, then why? And then these same bakers are the ones who will come to our classes and still complain how they were treated, how it was not, how information was shared. Please, as we are mkono, we teach you to do things fit for our market. Study the market, because that is what I do. Our market, like, honestly, there are some cakes designs that are not for our market.
That's true.
But they are maybe like in Uganda here, the wedding cakes are huge. Yes. Yeah, that is their story. But ours, like if you do a 70 in Kenya, it's a big thing. It's a big wedding cake, isn't it? Even our suppliers can tell you. But if you go to Uganda, they are doing 15 tier, 16 tier, and same with other countries. Is that our thing?
No. It has been a very interesting episode. So remember to like, share, and subscribe,
and comment,
and engage whoever you want to bring next. And adios.
Thank you.
It's a wrap.